Okay, so this lesson is going to be on biophysical interactions within the Great Barrier Reef Australia. So in 1981, the Great Barrier Reef was listed as a World Heritage Site by UNESCO in recognition of the ecosystem's immense biodiversity. So due to the reef's location within Australia's main tropical cyclone region, numerous cyclones over time have ultimately shaped the reef. The overall impact of these tropical cyclones is dependent upon their intensity and duration, and these tropical cyclones cause damage to the coral, ripping apart softer corals and chipping at harder corals. These cyclones may result in increased sedimentation over the reef, and it is also possible that salinity levels could be increased, and turbidity is also possible. And so, the distribution and nature of coral reefs is largely dependent upon the climate. And so, this is largely dependent upon factors such as light, temperature, and salinity. And so, light is basically related to photosynthesis and the conversion of light energy into a source of food. And temperature, obviously, corals are limited to areas that are, in the temperatures they need. And then salinity, obviously the corals need a stable saline condition in which they can grow and live and survive.
All right. Reefs produce limestone, in which it is then weathered and redistributed to other parts of the ecosystem to create a range of new landforms, including the coral clays. Through this production of limestone, the coral is able to withstand the erosive power of waves. And for coral reefs, they may be smothered in sediments, which is especially in areas of high continental sediment runoff. This is mainly due to high rainfall along the Queensland coast, causing considerable sediment runoff, so agricultural runoff and stuff like that coming from the mainland. All right, now for biogeographical processes. So first we have the invasion, so the crown of storms starfish. So this starfish eats coral, consequently leading to 40% of coral loss. The starfish has the ability to increase in plague numbers due to the human runoff, giving them extra feeding. The overfishing on the reef has led to an unbalance in the ecosystem, leading to the starfish's succession. Secondly, we have succession in the reef. So succession is a series of changes, of progressive changes in which the composition of an ecological community over time. An example of this is when the SS Yongala was wrecked on the Great Barrier Reef. The ship was then created into a form of artificial reef, consequently promoting a form of primary succession. However, after the cyclone Yasi, the artificial reef was destroyed and little remained, causing a secondary succession to take place. Now we have the modification. So the Australian Government's Marine Research Agency is looking to genetically alter species of coral to help them cope with rising sea temperatures. As new modelling showed, the coverage of living corals on the Great Barrier Reef could decline to less than 10% if warming and ocean acidity continue to rise. So they genetically modify the coral species to withstand the rising salinity and temperatures. And now the ecosystem resilience. So this is a complex way to understand and assess because there's a number of factors that can affect it. So ecosystem biodiversity is where there is a variation within the species and the condition of the population of species and their habitats can influence the resilience. Furthermore, the Great Barrier Reef's health and natural functioning can affect its physical resilience, consequently leading to chemical and ecological processes resulting in a resilient ecosystem that can absorb stress and rebuild after disturbances. For an ecosystem that is already under pressure, the effectiveness of protection and management measures at addressing the threats to that ecosystem, which is also an important factor in retaining or restoring resilience.
So now we're going to look at the adjustments of the Great Barrier Reef in response to natural stress. And the form of natural stress that usually occurs on the reef is tropical cyclones. So the shaping of individual reefs and coral keys is a response to prevailing winds, waves, currents, and ancient topography. Damage from storms and cyclones, as I said, results in increased diversity despite the short-term damage. Increases in water temperature, flooding from fresh water, nutrient overload or sediment blanketing stresses a coral polyp, usually killing the polyp. This is known as coral bleaching, and there is also a debate over whether the infestations of crown of thorn starfish are naturally reoccurring or not.
Lovely. Is that it? Which one is it? Oh, it's over there.